What up, y'all, and happy Thursday. It's your girl, UC Caleb, back with another episode review, guys. We just watched last night season 4, episode 18 of Sistas, entitled Enemy of Mine, guys. And the episode dragged for me, but there were some parts I really want to highlight. So we are going to do a traditional episode, scene by scene breakdown, but I'm going to keep it brief on the things that are not super important. But guys, first, you already know the drill. Before we get into it, if you have not already, please remember to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Like for me, comment if you like the content, guys, because I really appreciate the feedback. And I want to know if you're interested in what I'm talking about. And also for the people who are new here, welcome to UCKayla TV. I'm so happy to have you here. And I just want you to know the reason why my format has changed, and you guys are not seeing me on my episode reviews anymore, is because my work schedule has changed, guys. So I'm literally like on my lunch break in my car doing this. But on Mondays, when you get my Hot Topic video, you guys will see me then. I just didn't want you to think I disappeared. Okay, enough of the, intro. Let's get into it. So, Enemy of Mine starts with scene 1. We have Zach, Andy, and Fatima and D.A. Jefferson in the jail. And the DA had just given Zach and Andy and Fatima the bad news at the end of episode 17. So that's where we picked up. D.A. Jefferson leaves out. Andy leaves to go make some calls, and we all know she's about to call Robin. Zach is now unraveling, and Fatima is trying to comfort him. And that's basically the duration of the scene. Like I said, unless it's super important, I'm just going to kind of gloss over things. My opinion, though, I think Zach was just frustrated because he felt like his life was finally turning around and now he's back in jail again. I don't think that his frustration was at Fatima or Andy or even the sisters so much. It's just like, man, I was on the up and up. I'm making my own money now. I'm doing it for myself. I finally feel like I'm in control, and then something comes out of left field and I'm depending on women again, because he does have some past trauma with how he was raised and everything with women. So now he's like, I'm back in the situation depending on women again. And it's not that he didn't want their help. It's just a frustrating, sorry guys, situation. So I really think that's what that was about. But kudos to Fatima, I feel like they balance each other out, because when one of them is losing it, the other one stays solid, or vice versa. And I think that Fatima knows Zach's temperament. She knows how he can get when he's in jail because he has a record and doesn't want to be there. This isn't her first time seeing him in jail, because obviously Tyler Perry loves to lock Zach up. I mean, literally, as many times as I've rewatched episodes, I believe season 2, episode 18, she had gotten him out of jail, and he was spiraling in episode 17. Season 3, episode 18, Hayden was threatening him with jail. He didn't go to jail. But, she had to talk him off the ledge, I think, in episode 20 or 21 about that. So, Fatima knows how Zach gets when his freedom is on the line. All right, scene number 2. We have Robin and Andy on the phone. Andy calls in a favor to Robin about Zach. Robin's willing to help, but he wanted to make sure there was nothing going on with Andy and Zach, like a relationship. Then Andy decides to flip the script and ask Robin about about his past with the DA's daughter, since he want to ask about her sexual past. My opinion, I just, thanks Robin for the help, but don't start acting like Gary, bro. Like, we we got enough of the foolishness going on with Scary Gary. And I even tweeted that, oh yeah, by the way, if you want my live tweets during the show, if you want to know my banter about the show, because I'll tweet even if it's not a Wednesday, follow me on Twitter at thatgirlKaylaD. It'll be in the description. All right, scene number 3. We have Maurice, Q, and Calvin at Maurice's apartment. Y'all already know this about to be quick. Q tries to be chummy with Maurice, and Maurice, he not feeling it, and he mocks him, rightfully so. Calvin comes in hungover like always, and shows, Maurice shows Calvin the pictures of him and Q in his bed, and then he makes fun of him like he always does, throws in a couple insults, In my opinion, Maurice is funny. That's about it. Y'all know how I feel about that whole storyline. All right, scene number 4, we have Aaron, Karen, and Pam at the salon. Aaron comes in and tells Karen that he accidentally took her keys last night. At first, she was acting like she didn't know whose keys they were, and then she recognizes the keys and tells Aaron that they were Zach's keys before he moved out. Aaron leaves, and then Pam comes over to be nosy after, and Karen and Pam discuss Zach's business as usual, because that's all they know how to talk about. Karen asked Pam to find out when Zach gets out of jail, and to call him and tell him to go get those old keys. My opinion, y'all, like, just when I thought Karen couldn't get any more annoying, now she wants Zach to come pick up some old keys that he can't do anything with as like a pathetic excuse basically to talk to him. And I tweeted this. I'm just like, girl, he didn't own anything when he was with you. So them two keys either is one to your apartment and one to your car, uh your apartment and a storage unit, a P.O. box, his old jail cell. Like, what are the keys for? For what reason would he need them? Definitely one of them is for your apartment. So why would he need that? Even if y'all have a baby together, people co-parent all the time and don't have keys to their children's fathers or mothers' houses. So I'm like, girl, I'm just exhausted with Karen in this situation. Like, it's not that much delusion and denial in the world. And then, guys, I'm going to get into it at the end when we talk about the preview, y'all. But Karen is really about to piss me off again. Like, I be trying to ease up on sis, but whoo, child. All right, I'm going to move on, and then we'll get back to that later when we discuss the preview. But let's just all remember that Pam did offer to send those keys to Zach, and Karen refused. You know why? Because she want him back in that salon or at her house or whatever. I really hope, and I'm about to be done with this, but I really hope Tyler Perry lets Fatima come this time, because it's like, that's the only way she's going to get it. Like, let's do this differently. I'm going to be so annoyed if we have another. You remember season 2, episode 20? Because next week is episode 19. It's not going to happen next week. There's going to be, I read the synopsis for episode 20. Something about Karen finally tells Zach how she feels. Like, finally, she been finally telling him, but whatever. But season 2, episode 20 was the closet incident, because he came back having an unnecessary conversation with her. Season 3, episode 20 was them in the doggone office closet and her crying, revealing that she's pregnant when she had 11 opportunities to tell him. Now we're at season 4 coming up on episode 20, not next week, but the week after, and they're going to be having another conversation. For what? And I'm sorry to go on a rant, y'all, but that's bothering me. Like, Tyler Perry, please. And then you had the same format every time. So even it's going to be some kind of bombshell drop that's going to lead us into the next season just for it to be the same format again. Like, can we please veer from the format and do something different? All right, I'm moving on, y'all, because I can talk about that all day. Scene number 5, Sabrina and Bayo at the bank. They was matching child in orange and black. Bayo comes to visit Sabrina. Sabrina does tell him that she found out he's a prince. He doesn't deny it. Ultimately, he ends up asking Sabrina to dinner, and she agrees. Maurice was being nosy outside and comes in joking on Sabrina like he always does. My opinion. I mean, Sabrina and Bayo are growing on me, but I'm still unimpressed with the whole ripoff of Coming to America, and I'm also not getting my hopes up because Calvin clearly is still going to be on the show. Yeah, that's about it. Maurice is funny, but I mean, he's always funny, so nothing else substantial I have to say about that. Scene number 6, Danny and Logan are at the airport. This is going to be super brief because it was stupid in my opinion. Logan walks up in a wrinkled suit, and Danny is now suddenly totally intrigued by him. They discuss their dinner plans for the evening and decide to meet up later at 7. In my opinion, I just felt like it was forced. Like, it's super extra, super forced that all of a sudden Danny, who was totally not interested, also made other plans with El Fuego. Now she's making plans with Logan. Like, did he forget what he wrote? Because isn't she supposed to be meeting El Fuego for dinner as well? Child, I don't know, but yeah. And Logan, they could have at least, and I tweeted this, they could have at least steamed to earn that doggone suit for Danny to be acting like he was all that in that wrinkled suit. Girl. All right, anyway, I'm going to move on, y'all. I don't see Logan lasting, so I'm not getting invested. I doubt he'll be in season 5. All right, scene number 7. We have Jake, Will the contractor, and Preston at Zach's house. Jake comes up to Zach's house looking for him, only to find Will, who is angry because he's been looking for Zach to pay him and the other workers for the work they did in the house. Jake goes ahead and asks him for the invoice and pays him the $3,500 that Zach owes him and says he'll settle it with Zach later, and the angry dude leaves. Jake calls Andy and references the fact that he works with Gary, so he does tell her that he's looking for Fatima, basically ultimately trying to find Zach, and Andy is spending most of the time questioning how he knows how they know Zach and how he knows Gary and Zach knows Gary, whatever. Okay, I'm gonna get to that later. Uh, moving on. Jake asks for Fatima's number, but Andy decides to say she'll give Fatima his number instead of giving out her number. Preston rolls up in the big boy truck looking for Zach, and then hesitantly calls Danny at Jake's request. Danny tells Preston that Zach is in jail, which how she knows, but anyway, throws some shade to Zach and Fatima, and then is still paranoid, basically that Preston was just trying to talk to Zach about her, and that was basically the scene. My opinion. I just feel like Andy she needs to be more suspicious of Gary than Jake. Like, she was doing a lot. First of all, we was trying to get Zach out of jail, so I was impatient with how slow she was responding anyway. Like, can we move this along? But yeah, throw the energy at Gary, child, not Jake. We ain't got Jake all figured out yet, but Gary is the most dangerous person to you right now. Preston and Jake, I think that that's good to see Zach have friends. He needs to have some homeboys, to have his back. He needs support outside of the sister circle, because unless he's dating, somebody in the circle, that's the support. And then as soon as they're over, or even if they mad, then he has no support. And it's good for women to have, female friends and men to have male friends, no matter what your preference is, because there's still things that, that we bond over, no matter what your walk of life is. So I'm glad to see that. I really feel like Danny tried it with that unnecessary shade that she threw at Zach and Fatima, talking about, first of all, why would you say Zach deserves to be in jail? Like, if y'all were ever friends, that's crossing the line, because this man has a record. The same thing that you lectured Karen about when she put that warrant out for his arrest over that money he didn't steal. And then you turn around and say he deserves it, and then calling Fatima Captain Fatima. No, like, their relationship. That's his girlfriend. Why would she not be trying to get him out of jail? Like, I don't like that. I feel like, and not mignon per se, but even though they be trying to defend their characters, because obviously they're trying to stay employed, and no shade and no hate to that, but I don't like the way Tyler Perry's starting to write Danny's character. She's starting to turn into a hater. She's starting to act like Karen minus the delusion. Like, I know you going through it, Danny, but you don't have to do all that. I don't think that even if Zach was mad at Danny, he would say that she deserves to be in jail, or like in a serious situation, say, oh, she deserves it, or good for her, or something like that. Like, I don't see it, but okay. All right, that's my opinion, y'all. Y'all let me know what you think in the comments. Scene number 8, we're with Robin and Andy at the law firm. Robin comes to tell Andy that he's leaving and Zach is getting out soon. He tells Andy that he got the favor, and Zach's getting out, but the assault charges are going to stand. And then he said something about he's going to have to do something. I don't know if he said a bid. I turned the TV all the way up, and I still don't know what he said. So if y'all know in the comments, let me know. He said he's going to have to do something. And then Andy was like, that's no problem. So if y'all heard it, or you had your closed captions on or whatever, let me know in the comments, because I really want to know what Robin said Zach was going to have to do. Andy calls Fatima and tells her to meet her at the jail because Zach is getting out. And basically she ends up finding Fatima never left, even though Fatima said she was home, baby. She was right there at the jail. Robin tells Andy that Hayden has gotten access to a federal database, and he's been looking at the airport footage for hours. He asks her not to tell anybody, and then tells her that basically they're watching Hayden, auditing him, trying to find anything to take him down. So my opinion, I'm liking Robin more and more each episode, child. I mean, he had me a little leery earlier in the episode, when he started acting like Gary, talking about, is Andy sleeping with that? Like, come on now. But overall, I think Robin's going to be a good dude. And I mean, even if all he does is take Hayden down, that's going to be fine with me. Anybody that can take Hayden down, you good with me. Scene number 9, we're with Scary Gary and Aaron at Gary's office. Aaron shows up because Gary called him. Gary is unraveling about Andy as usual and tells Aaron that he's been watching Andy through a telescope. Aaron basically gives Gary some good advice, tells him that he's wrong, he needs to get over it, he did this to himself, he needs to calm down. Basically, that was a conversation. My opinion, I feel like Aaron gave Gary some great advice. But then it just makes me feel like I just don't know how he doesn't see how he forces his way into Karen's life as well. I mean, he does it in a more gentle way than Gary. He's not controlling or crazy jealous or whatever like Gary, but he still is forcing his way, not taking no for an answer. not respecting the space and all that stuff with Karen. So okay, but he did give him some good advice, so I'll give Aaron that. Whatever. All right, scene number 10, y'all. We're with Andy, Fatima, and Zach at the jail, y'all, and we love Zatima. Andy meets Fatima, tells her Zach's on his way out. Fatima senses like Andy's super happy about Robin and warns her about, being up in that penthouse with with Robin because Gary bought it. And then Zach comes out and they make googly eyes and Andy leaves. And then Zatima, they have their magic moment and gush all over each other. You could just feel the magic in the screen. But anyway, y'all, they decide to move forward. Fatima brought up again that she felt bad, which I think she did. And Zach's like, nope, I'm not blaming you. You're not blaming me. We both did some time. We're going to move on. And they decide to leave because he wanted to take her out that night. And he had a surprise for her, which is showing her the finished house. So I'm sure we'll see that on episode 19 next week. My opinion, thank you, Andy and Robin. We appreciate y'all. I feel like I want Tyler Perry to give Zatima a chance to like breathe before throwing them into their next obstacle, but I know they won't because Karen already talked about calling him for some stupid keys, so that's going to be another situation. But it's just like, even in real life, people do have good days. Like, golly, why always got to be something? And I know this is a drama and he does it for TV, but I just feel like this is how his shows honestly drag and miss so many details because he throws out all this stuff back to back, boom, boom, boom. Then he'll drag out one aspect of that piece of the drama so bad that he barely addresses any of the rest of the situation. And then along the way, as we're going through the dragged out part that he wants to highlight, he forgets some of the details of the situation when he first introduced it. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like that's how Tyler Perry does. Like, he be trying to do too much. Like, even with perfect example, Karen in the credit card fraud situation, we didn't have to jump into all this extra stupid stuff. We could have found out what happened with that. Like, we could have got deeper into Aaron's ex-wife's family trying to come out. It just be so much stuff he be trying to hurl out there. Then we don't address everything. And it's like we done got invested in something and then it just drops off because now you're on to the next thing. And then when something is referenced again, names are being said wrong, addresses are changing, all this kind of stuff. And it's just like, sir. Okay. But anyway, y'all, we're going to get through scene 11. I'm going to talk about the preview and I'm going to let you go, I promise. So Hayden is at the law firm in scene 11. He's in his office watching this airport footage of Zach trying to find something on Zach. We see Zach talking to that woman, Tony, from season 3, the Caucasian woman who gave Zach the stop tip. And then Hayden pieces together that Tony is the senator's wife, and she must have given Zach the information to the reason why he was able to do the stock stuff. So my opinion, once again, just like with this drawn out child support situation that makes no sense, even Robin said it on the show, Tyler Perry played too much because how Hayden gonna get access to TSA video? Then Robin said he had only been on it for a couple hours. So in a couple hours, out of all the years that worked there, he narrowed it down to that specific day, that specific time, and that specific interaction in just a couple hours. Like, come on, man. Tyler Perry played too much. And I understand Hayden's attorney. He's smart. He probably could get round about the time that Zach started coming up. Or maybe he started with the time that he started dealing more heavily with Fatima or whatever. But that was still a couple days, a couple weeks. So it's just like, how he got to that fast now. I ain't believing that. Hayden ain't that smart because he thought Robin was in something, thought he was gay. So, he ain't that smart. But anyway, yeah, that's my opinion on that. Hopefully nothing comes from it, but I'm pretty sure that's going to go into season 5 because I think Hayden is in season 5. And it's just like, Tyler Perry, can we stop locking Zach up every season? Like, that's also getting on my nerves. Can we find something new to do with Zach besides just lock him up every season? And obviously, Zatima is getting a spinoff, so he's not going anywhere. The side baby drama, the new relationship with Fatima, developing new friends. Why that storyline always got to be going to jail? But whatever. He's gonna write a show how he want to write a show. I think we all know that by now. All right, the preview, and this is the one that was on the end of the episode. Now, I am going to reference some other information, so after I finish this, I'll let you know. And then if you don't want to hear about it, but you're going to see it on BET, but if you don't want to hear about it, then I would say head on out. But the one at the end of the episode, Gary's talking to Aaron saying he wants his money and his place back. And he's on the phone with Fatima saying Hayden's been looking at some airport footage and he must be on to something. Preston's talking to Sabrina and he says he took some bad advice and he thinks Danny might be over him. Danny's talking to Andy in her apartment and says if Preston wants to date black women, then he needs to learn about himself. Jake is trying to financially advise Zach, but Zach is still distrusting because of Jake's ties to Gary. And Gary tells Aaron that the gifts he gave Andy were supposed to be for them two to enjoy, not really just for her. So, guys, that was at the end of the episode. Now I'm about to get into the extended trailer that they released yesterday. I retweeted it on my Twitter. It's not the best copy because somebody just videoed from their phone to their TV, so it's kind of flickering, but you can see and hear it. So basically, it was all of this stuff. The only add-ons was Fatima. When Fatima got off the phone with Andy, she was like, Hayden doesn't stop or he doesn't learn or something like that, which, lets you know that Andy told her something more about that situation with him looking at the footage, and that was her reaction. We see Fatima smiling, walking up to Zach's house, so she's obviously going to get to see the new home. We see Fatima telling Zach that it's a big step for them two to move in together, but that doesn't mean they're not. You just see part of that dialogue. And then the last thing, and the most annoying thing, we see Karen. She's in the shop with Sabrina, faking like she's doing Sabrina's hair, and she tells Sabrina this is what he does. He goes out, sleeps with him, and then he comes back to me talking about Zach. Basically, I can't remember everything she said, but basically she was saying, and I'm not looking at the video, but she was basically trying to say that Zach will be back with her because he does this all the time. He would go out and cheat and then get tired of the girls and then come back to her. Whew. Okay. So my opinion about the previews, and this is it. I don't care about Gary. Even if he takes his stuff back, Andy's going to be okay. She makes good money. I mean, Andy's a corporate lawyer, and she got 1.2 million in that settlement, so she's also a millionaire. So Gary should be okay. Danny kills me criticizing Preston for not knowing how to navigate an interracial relationship when she literally makes no attempts to learn anything about Preston's culture, his interests, his likes, the music he likes. She even used to make fun of him for all that stuff. But if Preston would have done that to her, we all know she would have got super sensitive and went off. And y'all know I'm telling the truth. I do like Danny, but for me, Tyler Perry's writing for her character is starting to bug me because he's making her be overly sensitive. She's being hypocritical, and she's being overly difficult for no reason. And I honestly don't mesh well with people who can dish it out and they can't take it. It's okay for you to say to Preston that you don't want to hear about cows, and you call his music country bluegrass, and you criticize his mama and his sister. But if he doesn't know everything about black women, and even though you won't hardly tell him anything, then you're done with him and he's not trying. It's just like, girl, I mean, maybe Preston should just cut his losses with Danny. I've been Team Destin, but you can't want something for somebody that they don't want for themselves. And then lastly, Karen is just, again, exhausting, and it's delusion. I don't even know if this is delusion or denial. I need a stronger word for what Karen is going through, because for her to fix her mouth to tell Sabrina that this is what Zach does and he gets with these girls and sleeps with them and then comes back to her, ma'am, this is this man's girlfriend. If anything, it's not like he's serial cheating. He's told you it's over a million times. It's been over. Y'all had that one double back when they were not officially dating, but he's told you it's over. Y'all not together. He's moved out. He's gotten his own place. You were blocked at one point, barely unblocked just because you're pregnant. You know he's with Fatima. She cracked your face at Danny's penthouse. Cracked your face at Andy's penthouse. Cracked your face at Andy's job. Like, why? How are we still talking about this with Miss Karen? The only thing she should have to say about that is, if that's my baby daddy, I'm gonna let him be in my child's life. Like, I don't understand. That's what's bothering me, because I know that's the setup that's gonna lead us from next week's episode 19 into episode 20. So yeah, guys. But anyway, that's the episode. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. It's a little longer than I wanted it to be, but there were just a couple things that I really wanted to address, guys. We'll be back on Monday with a hot topic video, and it's going to be really good. So I want you guys to join me back. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend and a safe weekend, and I will see you on Monday.